a disgusting, slimy zombie emerged, swinging its claws and lunging at the two. Lu Feng's face turned pale, trembling in fear. How did it get here so fast? I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Suddenly, he grabbed the girl's hand with such force that it terrified her. Then he used the force to push the girl towards the door, and cruelly pushed the little girl towards the zombie. He pushed the girl he liked towards certain death with all his strength, shouting, "Ah! I don't want to die." Then he hurriedly ran to the window, thinking, this is the 4th floor, and the girl is being tightly hugged by the zombie. Lu Feng originally planned to jump down to escape, but thinking he was powerless, he painfully muttered to himself, "It's just the 4th floor." However, the zombie suddenly lunged at him. It slowly approached from behind, opening its large mouth. At this point, it's a dead end anyway, so Lu Feng decided to charge towards the door. He used all his strength to leap, directly crashing through the door and falling from the 4th floor. The zombie followed him down, but it fell first. Fortunately, Lu Feng didn't fall directly, he was caught by the railing. At this moment, he was weak, and his body had many cuts from the broken glass. A few minutes later, the scene seemed to quiet down. The zombie's body was still lying on the ground, and the entrance was empty with no one in sight. He walked to the 4th floor bathroom of the hospital. He casually threw a zombie out the window. Chen Bai paused for a moment, noticing a short-haired female nurse lying on the ground in a strange posture. He approached the female zombie and said, "Great, she's a hospital staff member, looks like she was just bitten." Then, Chen Bai placed his hand on her forehead, guessing the situation, it should still be salvageable. Chen Bai then looked up ahead. There were 3 zombies struggling on the ground, but they soon became motionless. He thought, the military will soon block off the hospital, I need someone familiar with the hospital to guide me. Chen Bai crouched down, using his spiritual power, pressing his hand against the girl's forehead, trying to suck out the virus in her body, hoping to save her. He absorbed the zombie virus from her body, wondering if he could prevent her mutation. Strangely, as soon as he finished absorbing, her complexion became rosy, and she opened her eyes to awaken. The nurse immediately sat up, looking confused. Chen Bai, seeing this, didn't expect to save her and thought to himself, did I succeed? Fully recovered, the petite nurse turned her head, looking grateful, with her hands clasped in front of her chest, softly saying, "Thank you." He helped the girl up and gently said, "It seems you haven't completely lost your consciousness." The girl seemed to remember everything and replied, "Yes, I remember what happened." Chen Bai then spoke, "Well, now I need you to help me with something." The girl's clothes were torn, and she awkwardly covered her body with her hands, saying, "This is fine, but I'd like to change clothes first." However, our wooden-headed Chen Bai didn't care about this at all. He anxiously grabbed the girl's hand and shouted, "I don't have time, quickly take me to the place in the hospital with the most viruses." The scene shifted to the laboratory, where a man's body was lying on the ground at the entrance. After they entered, Chen Bai picked up a few small test tubes, walked up to the nurse, and said, "This will be enough." The nurse stretched out her hand and responded, "The laboratory is the place with the most viruses in the hospital. All clinical samples are tested here." At this point, Chen Bai picked up a glass, pouring the viral solution from the test tubes into it. The nurse asked in surprise, "What are you doing?" Chen Bai just continued his actions and reminded her to stay quiet. Our male lead was in the process of absorbing the virus. He extended his entire hand into the glass and continuously absorbed different viral bodies. The system prompted, first absorption, hepatitis virus. Absorption points +10, followed by influenza virus. And so on, his absorption points kept rising. The spiritual power in Chen Bai's hands had already transformed into another form and color. He thought, it's already absorbed, next is. Looking at his hands, he stretched out the other hand to touch them and continued thinking, use all the viruses to strengthen the zombie virus. Now, Chen Bai's body was filled with various viruses he possessed. He calmed down slightly and began organizing them. The Black Light Virus, K Virus, T Virus, the Lost Virus. It seemed that the most powerful ability he had enhanced was the Black Light Virus evolved into the Zombie Black Light Virus, with all attributes increased by 10 times and self-healing ability increased by 200%. Congratulations on obtaining the core foundation of the Black Light Virus evolution and successfully occupying it. At this moment, Chen Bai closed his eyes, focusing his mind and thinking, the Black Light Virus, it is specifically used for occupation and evolution. The next second, the nurse girl ran to Chen Bai's side and notified him, zombies are attacking. This made him hesitate, turning around. He saw a zombie at the door, its face pitch black, starting to stagger and run in. Chen Bai said to her, stay here, don't run around. Chen Bai quickly switched to lightning speed, flying forward to grab the zombie's neck, lifting it into the air with him. This scared the nurse girl, who trembled and held her chest. Dealing with this zombie was also Chen Bai's self-test of the powers he had just absorbed. He thought, the speed is much faster than before. This zombie probably weighs 75 kilograms, and I grabbed its neck effortlessly. Chen Bai's face grew colder as he chuckled, saying, just in time to use you for the next power test. Next is a purple magical force emitted from his hand that gripped the zombie's neck, slowly spreading out, looking stronger and more poisonous than his previous magic. Chen Bai's virus magic transformed into purple tendrils, looking very eerie. They wrapped around the zombie's body. Chen Bai's power now seemed almost like her Lois. These tendrils gradually thickened, tightly wrapping around the zombie's body, which struggled desperately. In the end, it was completely devoured. Only a round ball remained in Chen Bai's hand. This move was an evolution and occupation. It seemed that Chen Bai was now able to use the occupation skill, and he smiled with satisfaction. Then, the magical tendrils in his hand re-entered his palm and disappeared into his veins. He clenched his fist, puffed out his chest, and rotated his arm, thinking, very good, the absorption speed is very fast, and it feels like my energy has recovered a little. Seeing this, the nurse girl trembled in fear, her scalp tingling. She looked at Chen Bai in terror and whispered, did you just? She was so terrified by the extraordinary sight that she knelt down, shivering and too scared to speak. Chen Bai remained calm, casually rotating his wrist and asking, what's wrong? Trying to regain her composure. The girl sighed, then looked seriously into Chen Bai's eyes, saying clearly, you saved me, I believe you won't hurt me. I will keep this secret for you. Seeing the girl's proactive attitude, Chen Bai also became more open. He extended his hand and introduced himself, saying, okay, I'm Chen Bai. The girl, still kneeling, introduced herself, I'm Su Xian. Then, Chen Bai suddenly walked close to Su Xian, slightly furrowing his brows, what is that? Su Xian looked puzzled. He then stared out the window, calmly saying, the army and police have arrived. They've sealed off the area and are clearing the zombies. We need to go. Then, Chen Bai grabbed Su Xian's hand, pulling her up and quickly running while saying, hurry, take me to the rooftop. We'll leave from the rooftop. Su Xian hurriedly replied, can't we leave through the exit? We won't turn into zombies, right? A zombie fell from the ceiling, hanging upside down and watching them run hand in hand. Chen Bai turned his head and explained, I don't have time for isolation and interrogation. Later, this zombie appeared in front of them, blocking their way. It was naked, mutated to the point of not looking human, sticking out a long tongue and showing sharp teeth, looking extremely disgusting, which shocked Chen Bai. Let go of me, Su Xian. Let the little girl stand behind me, I'll face it alone. The zombie is really huge, 5 times my size, blocking the entire hallway, and its eyes are glowing as if it wants to swallow both of us. Su Xian was terrified when she saw this scene, her face turning pale. She stammered, saying, what? What is that? The zombie began to stand up, increasing its power. It opened its old mouth, its massive body and sharp claws howling loudly, the sound shaking the entire area. It seems this battle would be difficult for Changbai to handle. The giant zombie blocked the way. Changbai bent down, holding his left arm, with deep red tomato juice underfoot and Su Xian, who was anxiously standing behind him. Changbai pulled up his sleeve, revealing a small tomato-colored wound on his arm, accompanied by the virus magic power inside his body. Changbai bent down, raised his face, and revealed a strange smile, thinking, I never expected it to mutate like this. Changbai's expression turned more dangerous, his eyes sharp, and with a smug smile on his lips, he whispered, I wonder what will happen to the black light virus after absorbing you? At that moment, the zombie monster leaped off the ground, flying over a wall and charging at Changbai. It lowered its head, opened its mouth, and its eyes flickered with red light, rushing toward Changbai at incredible speed. Changbai quickly retreated, generating immense force through friction with the ground. Agilely, Changbai pushed himself higher and spun around. The monster missed, lost its balance, and its head hit the ground, falling down. At the same time, Changbai kicked out lightly, but for the monster, it was a deadly strike. Changbai then turned around with his back to the zombie monster. Before it realized his exact position, a stunned expression appeared on the monster's face, and its eyes turned completely red. Suddenly, it seemed to sense something behind it, and swung its hand violently to strike at Changbai. Luckily, Changbai reacted quickly, dodging just in time, nearly getting hit. Changbai landed safely and immediately grabbed two zombie corpses lying across the hallway, absorbing their virus. Meanwhile, he continued charging toward the zombie monster. The monster roared loudly and charged toward Changbai, mouth open, displaying immense speed and strength, its eyes red, determined to fight Changbai to the death. While still absorbing the virus from the zombie corpses, Changbai looked up at the zombie monster and thought, it seems its overall quality is inferior to mine. Then he released his hand, pulled back his fist, and a large amount of purple magical tentacles shot out from it. Changbai used the momentum to strike forward. Then he rushed forward and landed a heavy punch on the zombie's chest. The deadly blow sent it flying into the hallway wall, the monster howling in pain. Its screams echoed throughout the hospital, and Su Xian sat trembling on the ground, terrified. The zombie's chest had a large dent from Changbai's punch, and the wall behind it was shattered. Just one punch had left the monster stiff. At this moment, Changbai noticed something and thought to himself, too tough. Changbai then stepped back, his feet and hands scraping against the ground, trying to maintain his balance. At this point, the monster fell to the ground, face down. Changbai had not yet gotten up, turned his head to see it and thought it was over, but amidst the dust, it leapt up again. It seemed even stronger this time, releasing an even more powerful aura. Seeing this, Changbai was also surprised. He retreated and commented, this won't work, I can't cause effective damage, this might delay us for a long time. In this situation, Su Xian instinctively smashed the emergency box on the wall, making a loud noise. This timid girl actually pulled out an axe, trembling as she stepped forward and handed it to Changbai, shouting his name loudly, Changbai. This gave Changbai a great idea, and he turned around. The battle axe was thrown into the air, spinning around. In that instant, the zombie monster charged at him with incredible speed. Changbai stared at it and began to act. Like the wind, he swiftly jumped up, dodging the zombie's strike. Its claws were extremely strong, emitting red magical power, but unfortunately, it missed. At that moment, Changbai caught the battle axe thrown by Su Xian and loudly said with admiration, well done, Su Xian. He didn't land directly but instead landed on the zombie monster's shoulder, quickly bending down and swinging the battle axe, confidently shouting, come on, fight faster, end this quickly. Suddenly, the battle axe and a claw crossed paths, gold and white intertwining. Although it appeared fragile, it was incredibly powerful. As a result, Chenbai's battle axe hit the zombie monster, and its upper body splattered like sauce, its face contorted in severe pain. He himself was struck 3 times by its claws, but for him, these wounds were nothing. Still holding the battle axe, he smiled triumphantly. What followed was a chaotic battle. The two of them fought fiercely, nearly losing their sanity. They attacked from multiple angles, dodging, leaping, crouching, each one striving to be the victor. Chenbai treated the ground like stone and stomped hard. Then he swung the battle axe and turned around, shouting loudly, "Die!" The target was the zombie monster. Chenbai used all his strength to hurl the battle axe, but unexpectedly, the zombie monster suddenly leaped up, colliding with its knee. After some struggling, the zombie monster, exhausted, knelt to the ground, seemingly wanting to rest. However, Chenbai wasn't planning to waste time. He quickly swung the axe towards its head. He then bent down and looked at it, showing a victorious smile, saying, "It still has a bit of breath?" At this point, the battle axe had already embedded deeply into the zombie monster's head. Chenbai had to pull hard to remove it. He forcefully pulled the battle axe, while keeping his posture, his foot on the zombie monster's head, softly chanting, "Blood battles don't heal the wounds, the sun shatters the edge of the blade." The zombie monster's eyes turned red, its veins began to show, as if it was trying to do something. In an instant, the giant zombie monster stabbed its hands fiercely into Chenbai's abdomen. The powerful force pushed him tightly against the wall, and Chenbai was shocked, unable to resist. He painfully opened his mouth and vomited a large amount of sauce. Su Xian, seeing this, panicked and shouted in fear, "Ah ah ah." The battle axe in Chenbai's hand flew out and heavily landed on the ground, making a loud noise. Su Xian sat on the ground, staring at the bloody scene in shock. Chenbai's face was covered in his own bloody sauce, but he showed no signs of pain. He looked down at the wound in his abdomen, torn open by the zombie monster's 2 large hands. He laughed, saying, "Ha ha ha, about to die, and you still choose not to escape." He smiled and shouted loudly, "This is wonderful." Then he stared at the zombie monster's ugly face, provoking, "You want to tear me apart?" The situation reversed as the zombie monster's expression changed drastically. It opened its mouth full of sharp teeth, seemingly suddenly experiencing intense pain. From the place where Chenbai was injured, suddenly hundreds of purple tentacles emerged, wriggling with malice, wrapping around the zombie monster's hands. This did not cause Chenbai any pain. On the contrary, he became even more excited, jumping forward to attack the strange zombie, preventing it from reacting in time. A system announcement appeared, devouring evolution. Meanwhile, tentacles from Chenbai's bloodline had crawled to the zombie's neck, slipping through every small crack in its body, rendering it immobile. Chenbai stood in the room, using his strange powers, the terrifying tentacles tightly wrapping around the massive zombie. He looked down, showing an evil grin and said, "Now you're scared?" Then he squinted, adjusted his tone, and clearly said in a low voice, "It's too late now." Chenbai floated in the air, tilting his head to enjoy the power being absorbed from the zombie's body. Su Xian, exhausted, leaned against the wall. She then turned her head, giving a slight smile, though her heart was still filled with fear. She whispered, "It's good, Chenbai." The system announcement appeared again, devouring completed, devouring mutated zombie claw, level 2. After a while, Chenbai gently landed, probably having absorbed enough. Another system announcement appeared, black light virus evolving. Chenbai's hand emitted purple toxic gas, and from his fingers, the tentacles formed sharp claws. Another system announcement appeared, gained zombie claw bone ability. The earlier abdominal scratch showed that Chenbai had not been injured. Those tentacles now retracted back into his body, and he thought, devour and then evolve. He then extended his hand with long claws resembling ghostly nails, immediately emitting a bright light. He said, "I choose the black light virus, and it's definitely the right choice." Things didn't stop here. At this moment, hurried footsteps were heard, the arrival of the city's military.